Let's go. And we're back, people. Deluded. I'm back again. You lot have been crying for me to get Matisse. We've made it happen. We said, my boy, we're bright and early for them.
What's going on with this hat, brother?
Bro, swag, man. I'm in my bucket era. Wait,
I
man.
like this, I do like it.
Nah, it's reserved for Premier League champions only, my boy, man. No, I'm sorry, man. I was saying, but yeah, I'm in my bucket hat era, man. The sun's shining.
You look like
you're
look like you're a champion or something. Like it's just chilling now, isn't it? Like,
do you know
damn.
what? I wore one with these, and someone was like, "Oh no, it suits you." So I just bought bare of them now. So yeah, I'm always gonna be in hats these days, man. I'm gonna test the waters, man. It's time to upgrade the swag and that, man. It feels like I can't lie, we've done a lot of content, primarily on TalkSport. Like, I've been with you all summer, in it, but I've got a bunch of questions that the community told me to ask you. So we're gonna crack on and get into it. The first thing is, what are you saying for the World Cup? How are you feeling about the World Cup? What's all your thoughts regarding the World Cup?
I think off the pitch is self-explanatory, isn't it? You know, people not being able to get into the country, the Infantino Trump nonsense that we had to see as well. Like no one wants to see all this rubbish. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that does kind of drag it down a little bit, because I think on the pitch has been brilliant. Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably been on the pitch the best World Cup. I was very skeptical about the 48 teams, because I just thought they were, obviously it's a money grab. Obviously it's more games, more ads, more sponsorships, more hydration breaks. But the actual standard of the football from the teams that probably wouldn't have made it, that did get in, has been really good in terms of being competitive, being brave. So it's actually been a welcome addition. And then, you know, the World Cup only comes around every 4 years. So it has been nice, even though from a player fatigue standpoint, we know exactly what that's going to do to a lot of the players that have had long seasons. From a fan perspective, it has been nice to have more games to watch. But I think from on the pitch standpoint, it's probably been my favorite tournament, bro, because when all the stars, and I do mean pretty much all the top shelf stars, the top 1% stars are turning up and are on that, you know, golden boot list, and are fighting for, you know, their countries and leading their countries and showing the deficit between them and everybody else. Because we know Florian Wirtz, you know what I mean, and players like that have not really turned up to the party. But the guys that are the best in the world, that are, you know, expected to handle business for club and country and be the main man and be the focal point, they've actually mashed work. And that very rarely happens. I was looking through the all-time England goal scorer. I didn't even see no Wayne Rooney. On all-time England World Cup, I didn't see no Rooney. I didn't see no Lampard. I'm like, raw. I'm seeing Bellingham right near the top. I'm seeing Kane at the top. I'm like, wow. You know, everybody, what's been going on all these years? Has nobody been participating? So it's mad. But yeah, man, I've really enjoyed it, man. It's been brilliant, I think, on the pitch.
I think you hit the nail on the head in that first thing you said quite rightly, so, and I make you right. Obviously, this World Cup, obviously, because it's in America, Canada, and Mexico, primarily focusing with the off-the-field stuff around America and fans not being able to get logistical problems, immigration issues, all of that kind of stuff. And I always say, of course, there's national security at hand and etc. But it's a world celebration. You know, if you don't want to welcome the world, there's no point hosting it. But when you get away from that, as you said, the smaller nations have delivered in a way, in it. Like, I think America gave a good account of themselves. You touched on it. You know, you look at someone like Norway. They have great individual players away from Odegaard and Haaland. So they had a great system. I feel Odegaard turned up. I feel Haaland defo turned up. It's one thing being the poster boy. It's another thing delivering. Jude Bellingham got a lot of stick from people like Craig Hope to saying don't bring him, etc., etc. He's a poster boy, and arguably he could be England's greatest ever World Cup player. Speaking of that, to see Kylian Mbappé, not just in this World Cup, well, obviously in this World Cup, what he's doing in the Golden Boot and everything of that ilk. But then you throw in, 2018, 2022. Like, I think in my 31 years, Mbappé, pound for pound, has to be the best World Cup player I've ever seen. 20 games, 20 goals, etc., etc. You mentioned Harry Kane. I'll make you right with that. Obviously, I have to push agendas. Marino and Saka are frontlining. I think Rice is being thrown into the wolves. There's a couple players, at least say for me, would be player of the tournament, if I'm brutally honest. I think Rabiot's at an underrated tournament. There's obviously players like Yamal you want to see a bit more from. He's turned up to the party, but you want to see a bit more. I do think it's getting there, in it. Like, I do think it's getting there. I don't know between 2022 and this one, which one I would say pound for pound has been the most entertaining, but it's been great. Like, obviously, the time schedule hasn't been kind to us in the United Kingdom, but those 2 a.m. kickoffs were filled with drama. We've seen penalty shootouts. We've seen the smaller nations, like people like Cape Verde, stand up to be counted. I think I think the international football for me is mirrored kind of what we see at club level, in it, in that it's congested, it's compact, it's more about the systems rather than the individuals. Clearly, the individuals have made the difference, but I do think that's a level playing field. I think all the African teams have given a great account of themselves. I do think it's being engineered, and I thought it from early for a France versus Argentina final, etc. I do think Argentina are getting some booky decisions, but I'm actually right. Considering it's an expanded tournament, I think it's a good kind of poster for itself. The one thing I would say, and I share with what you said as an Arsenal fan, is the amount of games that my players have played going into this World Cup and will play after this World Cup, and obviously the knock-on effects that obviously Timber missed out of this World Cup because of injury. Saliba and Gabriel are having knocks. But you're an England fan, you're seeing like Rice on his last legs. Saka's minutes have to be judged. I don't know the word, but have to be like, we have to kind of manage his minutes. Exactly. There. Like, then you got someone like Noni, who generally has done all right in this World Cup. When you start getting to the latter stages, he's kind of reverted back to type. So it's like, it's a weird one. So that leads me to ask you second question. Someone asked that, how do you feel about England, Argentina, and who do you think actually wins the World Cup of the 4 teams remaining, man? It's a madness,
bro. I mean, it's funny because at the start of the tournament, I said Spain, and that was purely because I didn't want to say France, because everybody was saying France, and France are clearly the best team in terms of what they've got options wise. The centre back partnership with Nkano's had a very good tournament. That's Saliba, the attack. Obviously, France are the favourites for the semi-final, and obviously France are the favourites for the World Cup. But I just wanted to be different and try and come up with something
against the grain.
I thought Spain. You know, so I think no one's really talking about Spain. I think Spain, they've got a very good midfield. I like some of the options that they've got, and I know that they've got some clutch players up front, and obviously Mikel Merino, you've mentioned one. So I think England against Argentina is just, there's so much history, bro. Like I'm usually more detached from England because I don't really be having a cry if they go out, because the PTSD at this point, like everybody expects England to disappoint in this country. Everybody expects England to underperform. But since Thomas Tuchel's gone in and the Chelsea factor's been added in, and you know, online Tuchel gets a whole heap of slander, a whole heap of flack. No one really respects him. For me, obviously, what he did for my football club, I have the utmost respect. I love the guy because he had a massive connection with my fan base. And I think England fans are now starting to understand why we love Thomas Tuchel in terms of that connection. Because the connection that he's starting to hopefully build with England, and that obviously comes from winning and the press conferences and the interviews and how passionate he is and whatnot. After the early agendas of why isn't he singing, why isn't he doing this?
And he's German and this,
German, the squad selection. I'm like, listen, we ain't won anything since 1966. We've never won the Euros.
Way before our time.
Way before our time. I'm like, the nationality of the manager is very irrelevant right now. We need someone to win, and that's just about the height of it. I do actually think England can beat Argentina, and I think part of that comes from Argentina also looking a little bit, you know, sus in this tournament. They've struggled to get past, you know, Cape Verde, Egypt. You know, in the last round, it took them to extra time. It's very clear that Argentina are not as good as I think they were in 2022. And I think Messi is even more relied upon than back then. Obviously, Alvarez has now turned up to the party finally with that long shot. Brilliant finish in extra time.
Brilliant finish.
Fantastic finish, you know. But I think there was Di Maria. There was a more, you know, forthcoming, important Alvarez in the previous tournament. I think this team is clearly just like even more Messi till we die. Like it's literally like, they're not even trying to win the World Cup for Argentina anymore. They're trying to win the World Cup for Messi. It's like, oh, we need to give Messi this World Cup. We need to give Messi the second one. I thought you man were just doing that gimmick for the first.
Now it's gone too far now, man.
Now it's gone too far. It's like, you do realize you play for a whole Argentina, you know, like a whole ass country with Diego Maradona and other issues, you know. So I don't know what's going on over there. Them man are a little bit tapped, but we need to beat them, man. We all know the history between England and Argentina, the hand of God. We know Argentina culturally, you know, it's very sketchy in terms of, you know, the racism.
They're the villains of the World Cup.
They're the villains. Like we have. The whole Messi thing is done now. He got his World Cup. I'm happy for him. Ronaldo has obviously failed to equalize. We move on. We know the GOAT discussion is over. Now, fuck Argentina. Like
facts.
All of them. All of them. You know what I mean? Like that's it now. We don't care anymore. The GOAT's got his World Cup. Fuck all of you, the rest of you. No one cares about the rest of you. We need to beat them. We need to beat them. And it is well and truly war, bro.
It's one game away from a final, Matisse.
Yeah.
Like, one game.
For all the semi-finals and finals Southgate put us in, he ain't never put us in a World Cup final. And like I said, I used to be a little bit more detached. So whatever happens. But this World Cup, with the manager factor and just the fact that this team is very, very likable, he's picked a group of
Facts.
warriors. He didn't take Trent.
Even Dan Burn, I was criticizing that. I'm seeing the angle now.
Yeah,
I don't get Henderson, especially because he bust his hand, but everything else makes sense too.
But you know
cool,
what?
man.
It's all warriors, bro. It's people that he can depend upon. He thinks that from a mentality standpoint are going to check in and not check back out. And when the going gets tough, they're gonna go tougher. And you look at Spence coming in instead of a Trent. You
Last
look
two
at
games done very well.
absolutely. You look at the inclusion of Dan Burn and not Maguire. Maguire goes and does an interview immediately. People are like, "Oh, Matisse, you need to stick up for Palmer and Foden more, especially Palmer. He plays for Chelsea." I'm like, I'm sorry, but Palmer, he's been irrelevant this season.
I can't lie, he should be there, but
from an option standpoint. But then you know what happens then? It's like the media, oh, why Palmer not playing? Blah, blah, blah. He's not interested in none of that.
They tried to correct that after Jude Bellingham the other day.
Bro, even now, they tried to make a circus out of some quotes that on both sides are fine, but you're not giving each other, you're not giving Bellingham the full context.
You're remixing it and creating division.
Absolutely. For the headlines, for the clicks, for the articles. They're not interested in the success. And this is the thing. Tuchel made it very clear the performance was not up to scratch, which I agree with. I don't think the performance was great.
No one can disagree with that.
But the heart mentality, the fight, the grit, the determination was there. And even the reporter was trying to question that. And then they go and tell Bellingham half, but not the full story. They are begging for an England exit because they know an England exit is a great storm and a great talking point. And
they bottled it. German manager, he's not better than Southgate. Yada yada yada. Like the headlines write themselves, you know.
Hey, bro, it's easy to write these ones. Southgate was likable from an England standpoint because he's come through the under-21s and he's brought the young players through. Yeah, they're ready to dunk it on Tuchel from day dot. And the thing is that because they're not able to do that, they're trying to create that friction and trying to manufacture it. And this is why I think he has brought maybe Madueke instead of Palmer, and he has brought, Chalobah and players that are just knowing their role and are coming in to just do impact and maybe tire someone out before Saka comes on, does more calculated.
Play in your position.
Play your position. And right now it's working. I think the team was always set up for maybe a more transitional game as well. And that's maybe why against against the low block teams, we didn't really see the best of us. Maybe against Croatia and Mexico, that's where we get more goals, more fun. But I think he's played a masterstroke, bro, for most of it. I did disagree with some of the squad selections, but at the end of the day, he's the most intelligent, qualified manager we've ever had. So I'm still gonna back what he's doing and just go with it. And yeah, man, if England dare beat Argentina and go to this final and dare do anything after that, boy.
Yeah, then you got you know what, Matisse? I do think we can beat Argentina. I think with Argentina, I think international football, full stop. It comes that it's just about pride in it. Tactics, all that thing is relevant, but it's just about moments and clutch moments. And that's why someone like Jude Bellingham, I couldn't understand the nonsense. I can understand the criticisms, but like not the nonsense, like not take him and things like that.
Yeah,
he always stands up to be counted. When I look at Argentina, as you said, it's bordering on weird in that I get it that you want to win for Messi, but you should want to win for yourselves. You should want to retain it for yourselves. You should want to do it for the whole of Argentina. Clearly, I believe they believe that, but all the language is around Messi. So I do think tactically off the ball will be even. I do think it comes down to moments and passion and grit and determination and all that kind of jazz. A bit like, I remember you said it. You said it when we was doing the TalkSport thing. It's that you can't really stop Haaland from scoring, just control the other factors. That's how I'm kind of looking at Lionel Messi. I do think we need to kind of be perfect. And I agree with Tuchel in that on one hand, yeah, we're through. It's tournament football. By hook or by crook type of thing, you don't really care. I don't think the performance was generally there for 90 minutes. I think the first 45 minutes was kind of boring. Yes, we got through, but it needs to go up several gears. If it is to our maximum, I think we've got a great chance. Now, whether we play, assuming we do that, whether we play a Spain or a France, it's a whole different ball game. You're at the business end, and you could argue all four countries could win it. You could argue all four countries could flatter to deceive, because I don't really feel there's been a perfect team. I feel some teams have had more moments than others. I think certain people got systems. I think this World Cup is, I think I've said this to you before. I think every player is a system player, right? Because there's a system that enhances them and makes them look a lot better than they might be. You're seeing it with kind of Portugal, and then you're seeing it positively with what we've got going on. But I just feel the system's in place. The only thing I would say with Tuchel is I criticized his a lot of his selections. I was happy with a lot of them. I was in particular happy with, I know Ivan Toney and Watkins ain't really played like that, but I like the fact that he brought those kind of options. But I did, the Dan Burns, the Jordan Hendersons. I wasn't as heavy on Spence as them lot, but Jed Spence, etc. Calling up Chalobah when Livermento's missed out. but I can say, I'm not going to say I can understand all of them, but you've utilized everybody in their roles appropriately. If I had to be super critical, it would be the lack of use for Kobe Mainoo. But then I could advocate and say, in my heart of hearts, if I was Tuchel, when has the game state like pandered towards bringing on a Mainoo, I'd be kind of forcing it. The one thing I did say with Tuchel is because big up Southgate, you know, again, I know he didn't win anything and whatnot, but as a 31-year-old man, when we had the golden generation, you know, we had the stars at your club, at my club, at United, etc. They didn't do anything. All they did is moan that, oh, I'm an Arsenal player, so I can't get on with the Chelsea youth. The Liverpool ones couldn't get on, etc., innit? I feel this period under Tuchel, under Southgate, apologies, while we haven't won anything, it's probably been some of the best times as an England fan for me as a 31-year-old man, because we've been getting to the latter stages. So when I looked at Tuchel, I rate you a lot higher, you know, than Southgate as a manager. Obviously, you've never managed a country before, yada, yada, yada. But I do rate you. I do rate the fact that one thing I'll give Germans is they don't really do the name brand thing, pandering towards calling up media. It's, I've got this idea in my head. You lot are the recipes for the and the ingredients for that meal. If you're not that, I'm not going to add it in it. He's done that kind of thing. The one thing I did say, though, if you don't win it, and I'm being a bit harsh in the World Cup, and admittedly, when we got Tuchel, bro, I was more thinking towards the Euros of 28.
Yeah.
But if you don't win it, for me, it's a failure, innit? Because as much as I don't necessarily rate Southgate, bro, you've got the two finals in the World Cup quarters. If we're not going to get over the line, it's a bit kind of dead. Obviously, with Tuchel, I don't feel you should get sacked regardless of what's happened. You've got to a semi-finals in your first kind of taste as an international manager. It kind of is what it is. I do think we're looking a bit wary. I do question that. I do think you have to go Elliot Anderson and Rice, but I do wonder if there's a bit of other variety and flavor in that regard. But it kind of is what it is, man. It's difficult because Mbappé could, you know, Mbappé is good along with France. You've got Argentina with the mentality monsters. I do feel for myself, as much as I rate Spain. It's not that I've been underplaying them, but I don't think I've been throwing them in the conversation that much, in which they'll pass you to death, score those clutch goals. But it's in the business end of the season, man. It's like it's a weird one. Like, I wanted to ask you about, like, finally on the World Cup, like, what do you think it's done for the reputation of certain players? Because I feel going into this tournament, not everyone was convinced on Jude Bellingham. They're all waxing lyrical. I feel there were some people that got onto Kylian Mbappé. You're kind of seeing what he brings to the table. And there's many other, like, players we could do that with. Like, what do you make of that?
Bro, I think it's done wonders. I really do for those players in particular. I think Haaland as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not Man City and it's not Kevin De Bruyne and it's not Bundesliga highline, it is now Norway against Brazil.
The lights are bright.
It's Norway. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no Zlatan. He was saying in his own analysis and commentary, he went to 2 World Cups, never scored a goal, you know? At the end of the day now, there's no cover up for why he's just that good in terms of getting the goals. He just does what he does. It doesn't matter where he is, who he's playing for. I think he's done wonders, bro, because I think, and I've been guilty of it as well. I think there's been, obviously, the nostalgia is obviously there for us at our age, and football in the early 2000s and in the, you know, in the 2010s, and the quality of the players back then, the individualism of the players back then, the variety of the amount of players in the 10 position. The wingers used to be able to dribble a higher quantity
strikers
of them,
as well,
more strikers. And I, you know, I don't think we were wrong. I think a lot of the time when we say these things to maybe this generation of football fan, I think it's correct, because when you do go back and look there, you know, it kind of speaks for itself, and it has become more systematic. But it was nice to be reminded that we actually do have some stars right now that we need to appreciate more and talk about more. Mbappé is quite literally shitting on every single individual's World Cup records ever. Like, and he's doing
20 games, 20 goals, bro.
Bro, that's it. Like, end of convo with him. 3 World Cups, 3 different positions. First one was on the right wing, mash work. Second one on the left wing, mash work. This one up front, mash work. And always gone to finals. 2 out of 2 for that. On the way to a third, even if he was to go out to semi-final again, most players and most nations, they don't have those type of records. 3 for 3. The guy's a freak, bro, and he's just come off a mad season with Madrid. I know from the overall perspective, the conversation is you didn't win anything at Madrid. PSG just won the Champions League back to back. You're the dictator. You're the issue. Politics. But at the end of the day, he's showing the quality as to why we talk about who should that team be built around, and it is him.
Alan, your conversations off the back of this World Cup.
It's crazy, bro, because when you give him the keys, bro, he drives the car. That's it. He
drives it very well.
He drives it very well. I like the way he drives. You know what I mean? So, and that, you know, Elise is another one. I think Elise,
player of the tournament.
what a player, what a tournament. The fact that he was in the Premier League all that time and no one else was able to kind of get him over the line. Chelsea tried, failed, got taken.
Yeah, you lot tried what could have been.
Bro, he is a phenomenal player. Ballon d'Or level talent. You know, there's nothing this guy can't do. And the way that he plays the game, the way that he kind of just, you know, nonchalantly just handles himself. He's not fazed by pressure. He doesn't get worked up. He doesn't worry. He just lets his football do the talking. The technique, the quality is just there to be
raises
seen.
His levels when the levels get higher. You saw that Palace, don't get me wrong, but like Bayern Munich, next level. France, first World Cup, next level.
Yeah, he at some point he is going to be a Real Madrid player, I think, because
it's going to be crazy. Football can't let that happen, man.
He's just quite clearly that level. He's quite clearly that club. Do you know what I mean? I think he's just ridiculous. So they'd love him over there. And then yeah, I think obviously, like you said, Jamal's still got to turn up, but Jude, there was genuine conversations, and I'm not an overrater of Morgan Rogers anyway. So thank God I'm not got a clip on my head, but there was genuine conversations. I'd hate to have a clip on my head. Jude Bellingham shouldn't start. Morgan Rogers should. Are you mad?
Well, there was things people saying he shouldn't even be on the plane, bro. Madness.
If this is not Premier League bias, I don't know what is. This is the clearest evidence of Premier League bias I've ever seen in my life. A whole ass Jude Bellingham is we're talking about
the CV for England previously as well, you know.
Bro, it's just exactly. It's not even like you haven't even seen what he's capable of doing for England. The guy has just, again, forget the moments where, okay, the low block, but the touch is a bit heavy. He does not let the game die. This is a guy that is inevitable, that is determined.
Always got a chance with him.
Put England on serious shit. Like every other England player that I've watched in my life, no matter what the quality is, I could see it in their eyes that they were capable of letting us go home. They were capable of letting us go out of a tournament, because if the circumstances or the conditions are not in their favor, if it's not going right,
it's dark.
It's dark. Like they're not gonna find a way. They're not gonna press that lever. They're not gonna switch it. It's just gonna peter out.
They're gonna come to reality.
Yeah, Bellingham's not on that. He says, "Listen, by hook or by crook, we're going somewhere.
We're rolling. You have to kill me if you don't want me to forward to the next round." And he always delivers.
And you know what is? I do think the love that he has for England and the England fans have for him, I think partly of that is that he's only played for Birmingham in England. He's not played for Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal, and Chelsea. So there's no agendas. It's just pure love, because he's at Real Madrid. He's out of sight, out of mind. And when he comes to England, we could just fully back him, fully support him. Even Lee Judge is like, we all see the jokes of him not celebrating when Harry Kane scores. There's none of that with Bellingham,
there's none of that. Yeah,
we don't have to worry about none of that. Saka, he's an Arsenal player. Right? We don't have to worry about that.
Jude should be the golden boy.
Yeah, but with Bellingham, the guy just delivers. He just delivers. And for me, bro, the fact that he's a box-to-box midfielder as well, and I'm seeing him make those tackles against Mexico, and I'm seeing him do those dribbles and drive the ball through three players.
He's a complete midfielder when you look at it.
And then he's box crashing. It's like, that also plays a part as to, he is not letting anything slip. Because he's
even some of the tackles he's made in the games he's got braces. That's what's going to be in the highlights. But them things there are as important. And I think with Jude Bellingham, I think people that understand football knows that, park off the media, this Jude Bellingham's not going to be the first nor the last England player that they kind of big up, tear down, start agendas pre-tournament, still running it during the tournament. And then these same sick individuals who chatted a lot of shit will be the ones bred into the highest extent, yeah? I think Jude Bellingham's a player like, let's just say you're Jude Bellingham and I'm another character and we've got Tuchel. Tuchel might shout at me, dig me out in the press, and I might turn into a shell. I might see it as, you're getting on to me sort of thing. You can tell Jude Bellingham's one of those footballers. You can push a bit, you can nibble at a bit, you can kind of piss off a bit, but it gets a positive reaction. And I can tell Tuchel and Jude, it's from a place of love. I might hate you in the moment. I might not like what you're saying, but I know it's from a place of love. And when I remove my ego, if I'm Jude, Tuchel wants to win this thing. If I'm Tuchel, he wants to win that thing. This is where I even look at, don't get it twisted, I did think Morgan Rogers was going to play more of a prominent role, just because, I did think Jude might play, I know Elliot Anderson and Rice throughout the whole qualifying they played, but I did think Jude would play a bit more deeper with that license to go forward, and Rogers did play a key role. I never fed into it would be Jude or Rogers, but I did think Rogers would play more of a significant role. But I think when you flip it and look in hindsight, clearly Tuchel knew, maybe it's because of Real Madrid, no one's really doing it. Maybe he wasn't happy with Jude's performances during the build-up to the World Cup. I felt there was more to give. Maybe he was happy and he just, how managers, they're sickheads. I felt he was just ribbing him and digging into him to get this kind of reaction. And you can see the fruits of the labour in it, because in the last two games, no Jude Bellingham, we're going home. I do think Mexico was a general good performance. I don't think we were that good against Norway. I think we should have been much better, and I make Tuchel right. But fundamentally, we went through, and who really cares? Jude Bellingham's re-announced himself. The problem is, Matisse, as you know, regardless of how this pans for England, did we come to the Euros or we get back into club football, and the agendas from the same individuals who have been served with humble pie isn't going to stop in it. So yeah, man, it'd be interesting. I've got some more questions for you, yeah, as we move on. Yeah, there's some questions around like content creation and that, innit?
Yeah.
Someone asked me to ask you, when did football content stop feeling like a hobby and become a career? It's a good question, I must admit.
It's a great question. I don't let it become that on my channel, actually. And I've been very, very cautious and very, very clear to not let that be the case. Obviously, behind the scenes, I would never have got to where I'm going or where I'm at right now without help from thumbnail designers, from Skullfuggery, who does all of my kind of production.
Big him up, that guy's funny, man.
Bro, he's fantastic editing, right? Ideation. He helps with the creativity. Obviously, we live together, so that helps. And then also now my clips guy, who's again phenomenal. We've been trying to push the socials, and I have to, of course, pay them, and of course, I have to, you know, be cautious of the fact that I'm not just making content now to pay myself and to live. I've also got to make sure that they're good, and
it's a business now.
Absolutely, but I think the quality over quantity strategy that we've taken has been great because I don't feel the pressure of people expecting of me every single day. I've just been able to kind of like show up when I know I have something very big to say, or I've got a really big opinion to put out, and then it's just allowed the videos to do a bit better. Do the travel stuff with the Conference League. I thought it was going to be an absolute chore doing the Conference League. I ended up loving going to Kazakhstan, going to Sweden, going to Norway, doing
the new worlds, man.
Yeah, exactly. Doing the podcast, you know, and having guests
literally branching out,
literally, yeah. And then also then doing the video when I went to Turkey and got breast surgery, bro. No one saw that coming, but I love shocking people, DG. I had my top off last summer. I said, yo, DG's always got his top off in the summer. He knows it's hot. Why can't I do it? I do it. People coming for me. I said, fuck this shit.
This guy, blood.
So I'm just enjoying it, man. Like on my channel, I'm enjoying it. And I am blessed to be able to live in London. I think that helps because in London, there's a lot of opportunity.
Definitely makes your life easier in terms of that.
Yeah, you go talk sport, you know yourself, DG, you go Sky Sports, you go DR, you go do shoot Sport Bible, you do all these things, brand deals. It helps from a financial standpoint, take the pressure off. So then it can just on the channel, just focus on creativity. Let's get this camera angle, let's invest, let's do this. So when it comes to my channel, I don't even think I've made a profit. Like in terms of the amount of money I've invested over the years, like I really don't care about that with my channel. I just want my channel to I just want to maximize and just push.
You love the game.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I said to people, like, I'll be doing this till I'm dead, bro. Like, I'm not retiring.
And that, do you know what? Sorry to cut you, but that is the most beautiful thing to hear with what anyone's doing in life, innit? Because obviously we have bills to pay. It is a job. We can't romanticize things to a point. But if you love what you're doing, you never work a day. And I think you've got the perfect balance of exploring like your more interview side, clearly doing the creative side, having a bit of fucking fun and poking fun at yourself or your club, depending on the situation. Obviously, just talking ball. So there's all of that. But as much as you're saying that, though, there had to have been a point where,
okay,
this is a hobby, I like it, and maybe not so much I could turn it into a career, but hold on, I've got a bit of a chance to turn this beyond just, I don't know, I'm working a normal 9 to 5, I'm making a video, and then I'm going about my business I could be doing this quote unquote every day. There must have been a point where it's like, whoom.
Yeah, I think trying to pinpoint a moment, because I don't know if I've said this to you before, but I even when I was doing the show with you and Rants, I was always full time. So even back then when we were doing them shows, I was full time. And I wasn't making loads of money, but I was just I wasn't working. So this is what I was doing. I think the penny dropped with Big Six when we went out to New York, and we did that Fox special with them, and they did six in, what did they call it? I can't remember, but it was a sick name for the show. We did that. We was on that. We did a couple features with them. They took us to Times Square. They filmed us going through Times Square, trying New York stuff. And I was just like, this is a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Surreal.
I was like, yeah, this is a bit mad, isn't it? Like we're really making our US TV debut. Like being on TV in the UK is already mad enough, and then going over to America and being on TV there, and having all their film crew welcome us and kind of be on their set, go to their studio, do a show with them. So I think that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this might be this might be more than I thought it was. But I always had a dream to get to 100K, get the plaque.
Yeah, just like with your old channel.
Third channel. Yeah, I've had this my third channel. So I've always kind of been aiming to go big. But yeah, I think that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, we should lock in even more now.
It's a weird one. You know, for me, what would I say? I'd say it's just after COVID, or better yet, during COVID. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I can see the game kind of changing. Let me go on it. Because like yourself, I was working as well. I got put on that, was it that furlough thing, and then taking off. I then saw myself. I was like, oh, you know what? Life is a bit feeble. And then I looked at my paycheck for the last, like in that period, 2 months. I was like, wait, I've made more doing less on YouTube than being here. Now, obviously, there's the security of having a conventional 9 to 5. But I thought, because I can be quite calculated, impulsive. I did the maths. I was like, I could always go back to getting a job. Let me make a meal of this. Let me actually try in it, because I've seen what it could be like, them saying fuck off and whatnot. Let me go for it. So it's crazy. Another kind of question on that theme, yeah. Has creating football content changed how you watch matches?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I remember when I was younger, I didn't give a damn about who the starting 11 was. I didn't care about tactics or systems. I was just watching, just purely just to enjoy like the scoreline and
football
who gets
purest
goals.
Level.
Just honestly, football at its purest, where it's like there is no agendas. There's no like massive concerns over like just the finer details. It was just purely like, let's just watch the game and just whatever happens. But obviously now, I think now, because I want my analysis to be better, I've obviously always seen, like, I think Liaz is quality, you know, James Alcott, these guys, they're very, very strong on their analysis as well. Like I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting absolutely as much as possible out of that game in terms of my opinion, my talking points, and then
almost
relaying that back in my content. Yeah, and that does mean that you do watch it in a different way, because I think you are concentrating on different things now. And obviously, since I've started doing the watch-alongs, I've never stopped as well. I never used to even think I'd be doing watch-alongs, to be honest.
Trust me, same.
Bro, I really didn't think I was going to be doing
I thought the concept was moist. I'll be honest. I thought it was cringy. People used to say, dude, it's like, I just can't fathom sitting there watching the game in real time with you guys. And then, you know what? Life humbles you. Here we are, like yourself. I ain't stopped doing that.
Do you know what it is as well? It's like, I just didn't think I'd want to talk whilst watching.
Exactly.
I used to always watch the game, and I'm either at the ground and we're doing the chants, but a lot of the time as well, I'm just paying attention to what's going on, because from it's a different viewpoint. And then when I'm at home, I'm just watching the game, like I'm not talking. So doing the commentary whilst watching it was not something I thought I'd be doing. But I don't know, like, obviously when people start to watch and it starts to do really good numbers, that does help make the decision. But I just feel like now I couldn't watch it any other way. Like now, if I wasn't doing a watch along for a Chelsea game, I'd be rattled.
That's how I feel every time I miss Arsenal. Like, I can't fathom it. And then even it's like, I equate it to being in a pub. Like I equate it to being in a pub, because your chat, you know, obviously they're talking about football, they're bantering and whatnot. But I'm sure you probably get it. You'll be watching the game, and obviously more so if the game's dead. But you'll be talking about real life, or having some real life conversations, or just speaking about stuff irrelevant to the game while you're commentating. And I feel that kind of expansion and explosion is what shocked me. And it's like, if we listen to our initial voices where it's like, oh no, forget that, you wouldn't be here, innit?
Yeah, no, it's made a massive difference, I think, to the channel. Obviously, everybody loves a good old reaction and the clips and whatnot. But in the moment, it's like, what can you do? Like, you actually, sometimes it annoys me how emotionally connected I am to this club, because I feel like they take me for a fool. Same. You would have had the same feeling when Arsenal weren't delivering what they should have been delivering as well.
And at points last season.
And it's like, I think in every other part of life outside of YouTube and football, I could probably cut ties if need be in any department, bro. But you see these two things, we're locked in. And then when you put them together, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's facts, man. It's like it's illogical, innit? I always say on my YouTube channel, there's people, men and women out there, that are more likely to cheat on their partners than wear another football shirt. Our love for football, in theory, is illogical. It's logical because we love it, but unless you're a massive football fan, and there's various degrees of football fan, you won't get it, especially people like ourselves, and many people around the world that ain't even got a YouTube channel, that are just so engrossed in this. Like, it doesn't matter what job you've got, what your family life is looking like. No matter what you've got to do, you're gonna structure your life that, boy, 12:30 Arsenal, or in your case Chelsea, are playing. 3 o'clock we're doing this, 5:30 we're doing this, and you wouldn't have it any other way, man. This is a good question. What does the public misunderstand about being a content creator? I think it's the other. I think you're a millionaire. Like, I think you're pissing and
that's a
shitting
good
peas, bro.
question. Definitely peas. Definitely peas. I think people, like I said, thankfully I've been able to have multiple income streams, because if I was going purely off my own YouTube channel, it's long. It's
It's
actually long,
fluctuate, bro.
especially
It's bare anxiety.
if you want to invest. Like it's near on impossible at times, because it's just not what people think it is. And I think that's why the audience need to get a lot more. I know it's a more American thing, but they need to get a lot more relaxed. And I think my audience are very accepting with it. But I've seen other YouTubers and other audiences kind of like turn their nose up at brand deals. I'm like, what?
We got bills to pay too, you know.
Like, this is a topic that for me, it's like, you do understand that the YouTube content is free. They're like, there's a few ads in there, and if you got premium, there's no ads. But like, it's not on Patreon, it's not on no subscription service. You're not being charged. It's free. You're not.
And we're putting in labor costs, you know, because like you said, there might be editing and all these things. It takes a day or two.
Absolutely, it's like we got
money.
We got people that we got a team. It takes a team now to do these things.
And subscriptions.
We got to pay those people. And then also, if you love the game like we do, you want to improve, you want to buy that new camera, you want to get that new studio, you want to get this guest. Sometimes next season of branching out, no doubt, I'm going to have to pay some guests, because they're going to be former players, or they're going to be, you know, like, it ain't no joke.
People don't
you know
see
what I mean?
this stuff. Yeah.
So it's like, you definitely need your brand deals. And I think in other countries, particularly in America, they're very obviously, and maybe they take it too far. But I look at Google, I was like, if they can run ads, like, why on earth would I not be running? I'm little old Matisse. You know what I mean? Everywhere, like, there's big ass billion-dollar corporations that run ads, and it's just like nobody's business. But when a YouTuber's doing it, an individual entity, it's like, oh my God, you can't do that. I'm like, so again, but I like the way, I don't have that problem, because I feel like my audience, they understand that I invest, and they understand that I love the game. So when I'm doing an ad, usually it is an ad as well that I actually use. Like, I'm not gonna have no issue with a VPN. I'm not gonna have no issue with what was the other thing? Even a free to play like William Hill. I don't go crazy on the casino. I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do accumulators and all this stuff. But if it's a free to play, and it's, you know, this is the button you got to press to do the free to play to potentially win, yeah, let's do it. And people win. Like, we talk about the winners on DR, and it's like, yeah, it's calm. Like, that's something I would do. So I think as long as you're comfortable doing what you're putting out and advertising, and it's not something that you would just not even go anywhere near, then I think, yeah, man, absolutely do it, because you've grafted your ass off to get to a point, invested, done 3 AM roundabouts. You know, no one was there when you were doing all that, and now you're not even gonna have the fruits of your own labor. And most of the time in the comments, if it is people going at you, they would do the same thing.
They would do the same. They do worse.
They might even do worse,
integrity with it,
because we don't talk about we don't talk about the brand deals that we don't sign.
Exactly. And the money is eye-catching as well. If you never had no more, you're jumping at that, bro. For a couple holidays.
Sometimes I don't even ask what the fee is for some of them, because I'm just like, you know what, we're not doing it. And if I don't know the fee,
don't make no sense.
Yeah, if I don't know the fee, then I don't have no temptation, because some of them is just ridiculous. Like, but yeah, man, I think that's probably one part of it. And I think a lot of people that ask me they want to get into this, I'm like, you don't just love the football side, love the YouTube side as well, because it's not just, you're not coming on here just for the football. You are coming onto a platform that you need to do your due diligence on and your homework on, and to grow, you need to know things, and you need to talk to producers and directors and know about cameras, and like, you can't just come here on a football team. You actually need to know the ins and outs if you want to be full time. So yeah, you gotta have a love for the game, bro, because there's going to be many months where you don't really want to do this shit anymore. So you gotta really love the game. Trust me. You got
to earn your chops, man. I would say I think Matisse is talking facts, by the way, people. So I co-sign that. I would say the things you don't see. It's like me and Matisse right now. This is the easy part, just talking about football. This is like playing a match. Like, this is like playing a match. For me, it's more, you know, what are we doing in training? Training being like Matisse said, you know, equipment, you know, learning different things, learning about CPM and RPM and the science behind thumbnails, and not copying people, but naturally learning from people. Okay, he's good at this. I'm not going to do it that way, but let me do this. finding that balance of changing, but also remaining core to yourself, because, you know, we do content with a diverse content bit of creators, where I would call us as like all rounders, in it. Like we've got a bit of personality. We can talk serious ball. We can poke fun at other clubs. We can do all of that. But some people's strengths are in different places. Some people are better at banter than they are analytically. And I think some people it's all right to experiment, but sometimes it might not be you. It's like, I like stats and I'm a bit of a nerd like that, but I don't like it going too nerdy. I know my content would be the best if I went down that way, because I like relevant stats. There's no point telling me about the XXXG and whatnot. Tell me the context behind that. What the hell does that mean? Like, is there more passes coming from the left or right? Why is that? Like, I believe football's a simple game, innit? And I think when you go down a rabbit hole and do all of that stuff, it's almost like a doctor telling you jargon or a stockbroker. And I know it's kind of industry lingo, but if you can't break it down to the average individual, then I genuinely feel you don't believe what you're talking about to that degree. So it's a bit of a weird one, Matisse, but I think you're on fire, man. I want to get into some back to football.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, first things first, Enzo Maresca, he's obviously gone City. Like, I'm sure you've spoken about this, done bare videos, but it's a chance to actually ask you, like, what are you saying for that? It seems like he's wanted to do that for a while. He's got his wish. Like, yeah, man, Enzo Maresca to Chelsea, and obviously you look got Xabi Alonso now, innit?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fighter for Enzo Maresca in terms of, okay, you've made some history at the football club. Conference League is a bit yuck, but hey ho, you got to win what's in front of you.
You want, yes,
and then the Club World Cup for me was great. You know what I mean? I thought, especially because it was PSG in the final, I loved that. And then I think for me, whenever you win trophies at my club, I'm always then going to give you like a lot of leeway in comparison to people that don't, because at the end of the day, I'm not one to turn my nose up at any trophy. Once you won a trophy for my football club and you put something on Wikipedia, we're gonna talk. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. Like, it's really that simple. And I think with him, I was just very disappointed because I really don't like the ownership. I really think that they've really just done an absolute shocking job in terms of multiple areas of the club.
Manager.
Yeah, and I think it's a very difficult working environment to be amongst, and I think there's a high turnover of staff, clearly, not only in front of us, but also behind the scenes. Whenever I speak to stewards, whenever I speak to people that work at the club, they say, hey ho, there's a lot of turnover here in all departments. Very disorganized, it feels, very all over the place. And it translates onto the pitch. You know, you start as you mean to go on. Everything filters down from the top. And there's no accountability and there's no remorse. It just seems
from the head
you know
down.
what I mean? Yeah, man. And that's why I get at them so often. But then when I see someone acting that way and kind of handle themselves in that fashion mid-season, it does rub me up the wrong way, because it's like, you could have waited till the end of the season. You, regardless of whether you're going to City or not, you know Pep's not leaving mid-season. Be amicable, be respectful, and also just do legal. Like, your contract says what it is. You're not really meant to be talking to other clubs in the middle.
Calm down, you're going to get some.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and for me, he deserved to have to pay some of the compensation, or City's covering or whatever, and they deserve to have to pay them out. They have to pay, because you literally just cannot do that. And it did disrupt our season. I do think it allows them to have a bit of a get out with jail free card and not take any accountability for the recruitment and for the lack of movement in January and all these things, and say, oh yeah, it's just all of the manager leaving mid-season. Otherwise, we would never be in this mess. You still gave the contract to Liam Rossinier. Do you know what I'm saying? As a successor.
Until you said that was a blur, you know. I forgot you had him, you know.
I tried to forget,
because he had the whole incident against us.
I tried to forget. It's funny because when people come up to me, they're like, "Oh, you mean Liam Rossinier?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but don't get me twisted. Like, that was probably the worst period of supporting Chelsea."
It was over his head. I can't begrudge him for taking the Chelsea job, but yeah, it shouldn't happen.
There's a lot of memes, man. It's just like, oh, this is not good for you. It's not good for us. It's not good for anyone. No one's winning here. But I want to have a beef with Maresca and City next year purely because of what happened. But I can't. I got bigger ops. I'm sorry. As always, Man City, you could draw us out as much as you want. You could try and create some sort of animosity. I cannot pretend like I have the time. I have too many enemies. I don't have the time for you. It's always Arsenal. It's always Tottenham. It's always Liverpool, and it's always Man United. Like, that's the big four. Like, I don't have time to create more problems. I don't have the energy. So, unfortunately, Man City, we're just gonna have to just let it slide. Genuinely.
So he's there for Xabi Alonso. Because I rate him, man. I think you need him. Like, I get I like Javi Alonso. I have rated him. I did think he'd go Liverpool. Obviously, it's not happened. They've gone in a different direction. Yeah, I think he reminds me of Mikel Arteta in 2019. Obviously, the only thing they have in common, I'm sure there's little tactics, but they're Spanish, innit? That's the only thing. I just think he's a man of conviction. I think, with respectfully with what Chelsea's been, which is a circus, he can at least get some ducks in a row, get some basic competencies. Of course, especially in today's day and age, a manager can't change everything, innit? Like you said, the fish rots from the head up, head downwards, innit? So it's like I like him a lot. And I do think it adds to the excitement as an Arsenal fan, because I think we're the only team I know what we're gonna do. I don't know what Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Man United, the rest of you lot, I don't know what you're gonna look like. It's an element of an unknown. But I do like Alonso. Obviously, I don't know how you're gonna replace Cucurella. There's rumors around Malu Gusto. Enzo Fernandez is probably the one earmarked with a move away. You didn't get Granit Xhaka. There's a couple of players that are past it. Evidently, there's recruitment. As a new manager comes in, he has to be given kind of his players, but he can play a back three, he can play a back five. I actually think you lot will go to a back three, going back to shades of Mikel Arteta, because that's one thing we've done early in it, like, because we weren't where we were now. It's like we can't defend. Let's go to a back five and just see where we can move. So I do like Alonso's appointment, but you can't look at him as a messiah. The whole club has to move in the same direction.
I love Alonso's appointment because I didn't expect us to get it. I really thought we were going to go and get
Took me by surprise, man.
Gary O'Neill, Marco Silva, one of these brothers.
Like, that was one aggressively linked with you.
I was ready. I was ready to be angry. I was, you know what I mean? I was ready to be angry. But I keep telling people, it's not the be all and end all. Some people have allowed this appointment to just completely erode all of the damage that has been done over the years and all of the poor decision making and the failed recruitment that they've done, and say, oh yes, a clean slate now, or we have to get behind the ownership. I'm like, hold on a second. No. They are in debt to us. We finished 10th.
They still need to get us on side.
Bro, we finished 10th. Does nobody understand this? We finished 10th.
And not for the first time. Challenge when you drew against us.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to war. I was breaking into man's yards. We finished 10th for the second time in 4 years. We finished mid-table. That means 50% of the time we've spent our class in 10th or 12th. And then, if I'm to go even further, 80% of the Pochettino season, we were also 10th. And it's only the last 5 games, if you remember, we had a winning run and got ourselves up to 6th and qualified for Europa. And then, obviously, an FA Cup winner made us qualify for conference. So, a good 75% of the time, we've been in mid-table under this ownership. And I'm talking throughout the durations of seasons. So, there's no leeway whatsoever. Talk about the fact that front of shirt is still not taken care of. Again, I don't know how that's possible, but yet they're charging us money for CFC Plus subscription to go and listen to Xabi Alonso's first words. What are we doing?
That's poor from your club. That's poor.
I'm sure the ticket prices aren't what they should be for the team that is in no European football for the next season again. Bro.
And the merch.
But then they're selling them on Viva Gogo and all these things. You know what I mean? Brother, I'm not letting them loose, bro. I'm not taking my foot off their necks. They are an absolute shambles of an ownership. And until they show otherwise, I'm going to keep cussing them, because this club should not be in the position they're in. There's just no excuse for it.
It's a disgrace.
We were debt-free, bro. We were debt-free, and we had players. Yes, we needed a bit of a shuffle. Yes, we needed to improve our recruitment and start to find players earlier, etc. But the way they've taken it to the next extreme and just not being able to even get the basics right is a joke. And people, when they ask, the manager he can't do it all. He needs
it's not a miracle worker
through the door. And so far this window, we've done nothing, bro. I'm still waiting for us to get this left back that I've not heard of from Rio in Spain. We're going back and forth over a couple of million or whatever it is. We thought we'd get him 15, they want 21. I'm like, brother, clearly you lot don't rate him, or you don't rate the manager. Which one is it? Because the manager said we need this player, and you don't want to get him because of a 7 million differential. Same thing with Mike Maignan last summer. Oh, we don't want to pay the 25 million that Milan are asking for. We're only going to pay 15. You clearly don't rate the player highly enough, or you clearly don't think he's big enough upgrade on Sanchez. And Xhaka, okay, you want to be disrespectful with the 8 million. You could have started at 15. I know it's a high price for a 33-year-old, but again, beggars can't be choosers. When you're in the trenches, get in the mud and start flinging, bro. We finished behind Sunderland. We want their captain. What do you think you're going to have to do to get him out? They got bread. They don't need your money. They qualify for Europe. It's just frustrating. I think with these owners, unfortunately, they've tapped into they're evil masterminds and geniuses, because they've tapped into a sport that the love, like you said earlier, is irrational. Football fans, they sometimes they have the memory of a goldfish. They're not able to consistently hold the energy, and once a new season, arrives and the points tallies are all
Amnesia.
zero, and the table's in alphabetical order, which puts us maybe in the top 5 Champions League qualification. Man, don't think, hey, we're back.
Forget last season, it's a new season, and then it all kind of starts again. So then what do you make of Enzo Fernandez, man? Because Xabi Alonso played a bit coy on him. He's another one you think, oh, will he, won't he, type of thing.
I really was ready for his release, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the divorce. You talk about it enough times, let's sign the paperwork. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna fight.
It's boring now.
Yeah, it's boring. I'm not gonna keep fighting. You're not like a generational player or anything. Like, I've seen better. As much as I didn't want to let him go at the start of the summer because I was thinking we can't afford to lose our best players, because A, I don't trust our directors to replace them, and B, we finished 10th. We need to keep our best players and build better around them and try and get up the table. Any worse than this, if we start having more mediocre Delaps and Ganachos and add more, it could get real nasty. Next thing, you will be in a relegation battle. I've not uttered the sentence or uttered the phrase, but this Premier League is getting more competitive. You cannot afford to be carrying too many bums in your squad because it will put you in precarious positions. But after the agent coming out, and then obviously seemingly seeing that he was desperate for the move, it's like, bro, just hurry up and get it over with, man.
I'm in terms of
hurry up and get the money in so we can replace you. Because I already know that if we're playing a back 3 and a pivot midfield, which every manager has pushed him into more advanced areas, and he's not a twin 10 guy, he can't dribble, he can't carry, we can get better profile fits for the system than what he is. He's a bit of a misfit in that system. I think he's a midfield 3 player, similar to Argentina. And I think if he went to Real Madrid, if they were interested in a midfield 3, I think it would have worked with Valverde, maybe a Tchouaméni, with the legs around him to just focus on his passing and dictating and whatnot. But in the system, I think we're looking to play with wing backs. It don't make no sense. I know what a midfield is meant to look like with wing backs. We had it with Conte.
You've won the league with that, yeah.
Matic, Kante, bro. You know what I mean? Like engines, workhorse, engine, and then you've still got your passing in Matic. You've still got your ball carrying in Kante, and you've still got your long shots in there with Matic. And you've got your aerial prowess, and you've just got a bit of everything, but you don't have any athleticism issues. If you're playing with a 2 and you're going up against 3-man midfields, God forbid 4s, when you're getting all pep with the twin 10s and
in today's day and age where strikers are dropping into midfield, you saw it with Brazil.
Then it becomes a 5, or they're inverting a fullback. God forbid, brother. You cannot have no athleticism.
You're gonna drown
in the 2. They can't run in the 2, bro. Especially not in the Premier League. So, but it looks like he's not leaving. So, I'm whatever. I understand why players want to leave this club if they want to achieve things, because I'm just as annoyed with the ownership as they are. I'm sure he was promised certain things in this project when he signed at the beginning, but there's a way about doing things, and it's mainly being his agent. My advice to him would be sack your agent, blame it all on him, do some PR, and the Chelsea fans and
then the beef is blessed.
Yeah, that's what will happen.
What do you make of Cucurella to Real Madrid and Santos to Man United?
The Cucurella one, I don't mind as much because he systematically doesn't fit for wing backs. I've seen him at wing back when I went to the FA Cup final. Awful. Like, he's not a wing back. He doesn't have the Nuno Mendes characteristics, the carrying, even Alphonso Davies before the injuries. Like, you need athleticism, you need carrying, you need the ability to go past your man, you need crossing ability. He has always excelled at Chelsea, inverting into midfield, inverting into the twin 10s and crashing the box, playing inside. And it doesn't look like we're going to be doing that. So you don't fit. I don't want to play you left side centre back. You're not tall enough. I don't want you to get dunked on back post. And also Hato had a very good 2026. So I don't mind that. Fair. Yeah, I don't mind that move. Again, we're losing a lot of intangibles. We're losing a lot of intensity. We're losing a lot of fight, a lot of winning spirit, mentality, goals that he brought in the Maresca season before this. So I don't advocate for, again, getting rid of our starters. But if you're going to need to make money in a time where you're financially screwed because you don't have front of shirt and you didn't make Europe, I'd rather you sell a left back than sell a centre mid. I'd rather you sell a left back than sell João Pedro to Barcelona. That was the link. So it could have been a lot worse. Santos, I'm pissed. I
think United are going to love that one,
Bro, I personally just don't think people have seen the best of him because Chelsea are a disorganized organization and they have not been able to give this guy a clear pathway. His first debut season in the Premier League, he comes in. We have 3 different managers, an interim, and... 3 different managers, including the interim, And we have our probably worst season under this ownership because we don't even have the Graham Potter first season. You didn't know what you was doing excuse. We have the 4 years in, you fully screwed up, reality to face. And it's toxic in the second half of the season. Players are talking to the press, wanting to leave. The system's constantly ever changing. Partners and positions are constantly ever changing. 1 minute we're playing with midfielders in midfield. Next minute, Maresca's inverting Gusto and Reece James into midfield. We're having 2 fullbacks in midfield even in one game. It's just not stable circumstances to learn, to improve, to develop. Everybody was gassed when he came back from Strasbourg. Everybody was hyped when he was putting in his, player of the year season and captaining them in France and playing against PSG. Now suddenly a year later, he's no good. He's no good.
Oh, he's a baller still.
But this
maybe
but this
Brazil
just,
bias, but I like him.
But this just goes to show that this club is not ready or should not be participating in no project, because how can you go from one extreme to the next 1 year on in terms of opinion and in terms of understanding of the player? That just tells me that we have no patience. We don't know how to develop no players. You can't judge Santos off that season if you actually rated him the season before. It's different with Garnacho. People say, you're a hypocrite. Garnacho's only been there for a year. Yeah, I didn't like him before he got it. He's shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
So no.
And I shouldn't even work. I don't want Arsenal to end up buying him because our track record with you lot is horrible. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I rated someone that was young and developing and promising last summer, what happened this season for me to change my mind and think that that's a fair way to evaluate their game and dock points off of them going into next season? It doesn't make any sense. The guy has got a lot of talent on the ball and off the ball. Obviously, he's got some limitations, but everybody does. Most midfielders do. I think at Man United, if they use him right and they give him stable conditions, and obviously Michael Carrick's there, former midfielder as well of the game, and they give him stability in terms of a partner, I think whilst he's developing, I think he's going to be brilliant, bro. He's captained the lower, younger age groups. He's mature. I said it on my video. He's a father of 2. Man's at Disneyland. He's not texting Astrid wet. He's not at parties. He's going Disneyland and he's on roller coasters. And it's funny because Chelsea fans be like, oh, we need to change the culture. Okay, but Jackson's coming back. And by the way, I rate Jackson. I rate Jackson. I when he was here, I was like, this is what he offers to the game. This is what he can and can't do. But we need to lay off him a little bit because look at Liam Delap. But culturally, the guy was getting suspended. The guy was, like I said, a little bit messy off the pitch. The guy's always got an Instagram story to post. So culturally, we're not really improving. A front line with Delap and Jackson in the same squad, that's a lot of red cards potentially. That's a lot of discipline. That's a lot of fighting over penalties against Everton. But then, so hey, I could be all day. So we're selling the father of 2, brother. I'm not happy about it because I think the guy is a very good player and I think he's going to do very well for us. And if we're talking about systems, he's a better fit for the pivot than Enzo Fernandez. He's got more mobility, more legs, more appetite for tackles and interceptions. And Lavia's always injured, so he's a better option than him. Because you're not fit, you're not. Yeah, it
don't matter how good you are, Lavia. Like you're not, you can't be depended on.
And I can't vouch for that Sigua brother because he was injured all season. So Santos, for me, he's got more minutes at a higher level. I have to rate him above him. So we've just sold our second best midfielder for the system that we currently are about to implement, in my opinion. And I have not seen who is coming in through the door, apart from this Barco brother who just come from Strasbourg.
I mean, he was at Brighton as well once upon a time.
Playing left back. If he even touches left back at this football club, to get
it'll be a Lewis Hall
thing,
man. It'll be a B-Tech Lewis Hall thing with him, man. I could understand it because he drifts inside and everything. Obviously, as a midfielder becoming a fullback, you're never going to be the strongest 1v1. It sounds like a mess at Chelsea, man. So my final question
is a mess, bro. It is a mess.
Bro, it sounds... No, I thought it was a mess, but like, obviously, you're a Chelsea fan. So when you're saying little isms and schisms, I'm like, raw. Like, I like Santos, innit? Probably Brazil bias. And, obviously, I watch a lot of French league. So when he's at Strasbourg, in fact, that whole Strasbourg team, even Leon Rosner, you was doing your thing. I like him a lot. I didn't understand selling. I could understand the only way I kind of rationalized it prior to obviously having this conversation with you is maybe he wants more first team football because I know the system might be changing, but in that 3-man midfield, Enzo and Caicedo are more likely to play ahead of you and beyond being a squad player or someone's going to put their hat on you. I kind of understand it, but I like him. I think he's got legs. I think he's a decent passer. I do think there's concentration issues and like you said, little isms and schisms that he could improve at, but he would be a player that if we were to shop at Chelsea, which we have done unnecessarily, that's someone I would have wanted. And I think it's a competent signing. I think it's interesting me speaking to a lot of Man United friends that I've got and seen on social media. Some are doing the whole, we was linked with Elliot Anderson. Now you've got a Chelsea reject. They finished 10th choice.
That's the problem.
Yeah. They're doing all of that kind of stuff. And then there's some that are like, when you get away from it being a sexy and glamorous signing, I think it works out. I think he's got legs in which they've got him, they've got Telemans. Telemans a fantastic signing for them as well. They've got Maino. If I'm honest with you, that's a lot better balance than what they had. It only lacks legs.
They had a guy, bro. They had a guy. They paid 60 million for a guy. The guy can't travel football.
He's better, way better than a guy.
Can't tackle, like way better.
Can't do anything.
They've improved their midfield by tenfold, and they've only spent 85 million pounds to do it. And they're definitely probably going to go and get one more, which is obviously going to be more mobile. The legs, the Onana next to the Tielemans. Obviously he's injured, but just an example. Another example of how much of a mess we are, bro. We signed Omega from Strasbourg, the captain of Strasbourg, again after getting Liam Rossini, after getting Sarr in January, destabilizing their season, destabilizing what they're trying to do. Now Jackson's part of the project again. The same guy that you tried to kick out last summer is now back part of it after you signed Omega, another striker that hasn't been vouched for by the new manager because you thought Liam Rossini was going to make it, even though he's not good enough. And on top of that, you still got Liam Delap, who you signed last summer, but now suddenly we don't even know if he's third or fourth choice striker. Garnacho, who you chased all last summer, is now in the bomb squad. There is nobody that can tell me this is not foolishness. I don't give a damn. There's people on Twitter that want me to pretend like this is a normal functioning institution. If any other football club was bringing in players every summer and they were irrelevant the summer after, the summer before this, we did Renato Vega, Drewsbury Hall, João Felix. Every single year, we make players extinct within the same year. And it's just normal. Just normal, bro. And people want me to pretend like, oh, this is fine. It's not fine. It's not fucking fine. Yeah? It's not fucking fine. It's a joke. It's malpractice. Yeah.
Malpractice is the right word.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. Yeah, Karma's a bitch because when everybody's talking about Enzo's acting out and Cucurella disrespecting the club, if you take it personally and you take it to the badge, absolutely. If you take it to the ownership, oh, this is so fucking deserved. You're putting people in bomb squads. You got Sterling training with kids. You got Disassi training with under 21s. You got. I don't even rate these players. I don't rate Garnacho. I never wanted him. But you're bidding him after a year. Like, you deserve for players to be dunking on your head.
The culture's a bit... the culture's not a bit. The culture's
cooked.
Yeah,
the culture's cooked. So you deserve it. You deserve it, bro. You deserve it. I hope these players are making your life a living hell, even though it's at my expense as well. But that's sometimes
it's got to get worse before it gets better. Like, everything's got to burn in it. The ashes of destruction, you know, will arise the roses of success type shit. Like, it has to get worse. And you have to get your ducks in a row. I don't want to get you pissed off about Chelsea. Yeah? So my last question for you is, that should be nice to ask a non-Arsenal fan this. What do you make of our chances of getting the Morgan Rogers, the Bruno Gomares, the Julian Alvarez? I don't believe the Alvarez stuff always.
I'm surprised you've not put your foot on the pedal for Barcola. I feel like Barcola's a better acquisition than Rodgers. I think Rodgers plays in similar positions to Eze a little bit. I think it's doubling up a little bit there. Obviously, Mikel Mourinho has shown himself to be a very valuable player. So again, you got to keep him in mind. Is he just going to play up front, or what's going to happen there? I think Julian Alvarez is an improvement on Gyökeres from a technical standpoint. Even the press is more aggressive.
You can see how he fits our system.
You're not losing anything on the ball striking ability standpoint, because I think they both strike the ball beautifully. When they really get it out of their feet and they want to lick it, like they do hit it nice. Neither of them known for aerial. So I do think it's an upgrade if it happens. But I think prioritization would be on Barcola. And I would say, Arteta, you need to be more transitional to get more out of Gyökeres and try and be more of a back and forth team, which I think you can do with Salibas, with Declan Rice's, with a potential Bruno Guimaraes. You've got with Calafiori, you've got like physical players that can move up and down the pitch. I think you guys, one thing I say about you guys is obviously maybe you managers become more cautious and more structural and more systematic and more set piece heavy because of that second, the pressure. We need to manage all the minute stuff and just don't let any of the finer details be up for discussion or debate. No variables can be out of place. Now you've won it. I think you can
maybe that allow the handbrake off, and
I think you can allow for a little bit more back and forth because, I think your attack is suited for it in terms of transition. I think Eze would be better transitional. I think Madueke would be better transitional. Martinelli was at his best times at Arsenal when you were really getting the ball forward faster. Gyökeres is another one that suits it. And then if you were to add a Barcola, he would suit it. Alvarez would obviously always suit it. Loads of pace in behind. But I think Bruno Guimaraes, I said it in my video, bro. I think that is the best midfielder on the market, realistically, anybody can obtain right now.
And if we
It's
get him
not
and partnering with Rice, for me, je ne sais quoi. Like,
for me.
I need that.
For me, like that is the answer to Anderson, Rodri at City, and then it's a 2-horse race, and then everybody else is just whatever. And that's just how it is. Like Bruno Guimaraes next to Rice, that midfield doesn't lack anything. You want forward passes, you're getting that from Bruno Guimaraes. You want ball carrying, you're getting that from Declan Rice. You want tenacity, ugly shithousery. You want leadership. You want off the ball. You want tackles, interceptions, aerial prowess. You got one guy taking the corner, you got the other guy heading it in. It is
literally
absolutely disgusting. And for me, as a Chelsea fan, that's exactly the type of midfielder I want. I said it in my video. I'll be fuming if he goes to you. That is a needle mover. That is a needle mover because it allows you to rest Declan Rice when he's struggling with his fatigue and his injuries. You could even take the first 4 weeks off, brother. You don't come back until after the first international break because Guimaraes and Zubimendi is more than qualified, or Bruno Guimaraes, Lewis Skelly is more than qualified to see you through the first 4 games. And then also he's captain of Newcastle, so more leadership, more experience, played for Brazil. It's one of them signings that football clubs used to do when they were only focused on winning trophies, Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, and they weren't focused on this under 25 market value, amortization over this many years,
value,
this contract, all this nonsense. When clubs were just focused on winning to obtain the best sponsorships, to obtain the best prize money, to obtain more fans, more branding, better Nike deals, better Adidas deals. When it was just about that, that is when these signings get done. And for me, if it gets done, I'll be fuming because it's a brilliant signing. And I think Barcola over Rodgers, and I think Alvarez. The only thing I'll say of Alvarez, I wouldn't prioritize it, is because Gyökeres actually wants to be at your football club. And Alvarez actually wants to play for Barcelona. And for me,
wants to, yeah.
When someone is putting their sword in the ground that much for the club of Barcelona, for Arsenal, I don't think you should be, and I say this to all big clubs, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool. I don't want to
be sloppy seconds.
I don't think so. Absolutely not. Especially, it's different when, like Hazard, we knew the end, but he's coming. Okay, Ronaldo is coming through Man United to Real Madrid.
It's the midpoint. We know, he wants to go Real Madrid one day, but this is what he's saying for now. You won what you won. You achieve what you achieve.
Yeah,
that's the thing with me and Alvarez, bro. It's like I like him. I wouldn't say he's overrated, but I'm sure every fan base does this. I feel when you're linked with a player and you're so enticed, you start like subconsciously putting them at a level that they're not. Like, I think he's a top footballer. Like, his CV speaks for himself. I think they're the kind of man, and this is I know we need to sign established stars, yeah, but these are the kind of deals I want to see us do more frequently. And what I mean by that is, can you get Julian Alvarez when he's in his homeland? Can you get Salah when they're calling him a Chelsea reject and he's in Italy? Can you get Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne when they're in Germany? I think we need to kind of do them kind of deals there, especially in the market now, because you could argue it's a buyers and sellers market, but I think it's quite basic now, in the sense that if you've got an asset, whether that be Utes at Bournemouth, all the names that we've spoken about, you're asking for, give or take, 100+ odd million quid. So you've got to find these guys before they get there. Or you've got to say, if Kvaratskhelia is the one you want at Napoli, 100 mil, Bob's your uncle. Elliot Anderson, 160 mil. Yeah, you could talk about being overpriced, etc., but this is the going rate. You don't love Caicedo. You know you had to overpay for it. At the time, obviously, 105 million looks cheap for Declan Rice, but we had to kind of do that. I'm sure we wanted to pay a bit less. I'm sure West Ham wanted more. I'm sure they're looking back in hindsight. That's where we're at. And I do, like I said, I need us to do the scouting thing. I need us to move on a couple of players. But why I'm with you with the Gomares thing is, I'm not being funny. He's 28, turning 29. You could get 5 years out of him. He's not 90 years of age. You know, again, like you said, you know, he fits us tactically. We've wanted him for a while. He's of the right age profile. He might have that burning desire to, okay, Newcastle, this project's done. I need to achieve. It's all fun and games. Arsenal have won, but I haven't kind of won. I think it makes sense. He can play as a 6 or an 8. You can play with and deputize for Declan Rice. There's some great options when you throw a Miles Lewis Skelly and the Zubimendi. I'm not saying I'm an advocate for it, Matisse, but the Kai Havertz's and the Marinos of this world, they're going to need to be utilized in midfield, because we're looking at 50+ games. You're going to kind of need that. Barcola, it's a love-hate relationship, because if I'm honest, and I'm being honest, and I'm talking about what we need versatility in it. Everyone does, but we need less of these players that can play here, there, and everywhere. Like, what are you type of thing. Barcola is that. I know you're better than Martinelli, but as somebody said on my channel, I think you're the Lionel Messi of Noni Madueke's. I would have preferred to go for you last year, innit, and not had money.
I hear you.
The problem is with Barcola, I like you. I think you're very talented. I think if, you know, the end product and the potential was realized, you're one of the best guys in your position in the world. But I feel like I've got enough of them. I feel like, obviously, I'd have a lot more time for Barcola, but a lot of them conversations could apply to Madueke. It could apply to Martinelli. I feel like I've got a lot of you lot. I feel there's already unanswered questions in our attack.
The left wing, I agree to an extent. I think Barcola is a bit irrational at times.
And he doesn't move me over 90 minutes, bro.
The left wing market is really bad. It's really bad. So I think he's like the best of that bunch. And the only other
options scouts do their job. He definitely is.
It's like Leao, and Leao's not going to Arsenal. And I don't think you should be putting up with that.
I'd rather Barcola over Leao. Yeah, I'd rather go for that Nusa brother of Norway before my man, or even the white guy that scored the goal against us. I'd rather do them kind of things than the Rashfords and Leaos and all of that.
Yeah, Rashford's another one. You wouldn't take him, right? Even
he's
though,
but 38 games. What are you giving me?
I think Rashford at Arsenal would be fascinating because it's, do you know what it is? It's a gamble you don't need to take.
It's a gamble I don't want to take, bro.
You don't want to take it. You don't need to take it. Like when you're champions, you don't need to take gambles. You need to go and get the best and retain. That is what Chelsea often failed to do, which annoyed me under Abramovich. We only defended our title once. When we won the title,
that's what I want to do. I ain't seen us retain the thing.
Yeah, when we won our titles, we were either complacent or we gambled too much. When really we should have just said, right, let's double down and let's go back to back to back and try and have a period of dominance, which we were capable of, but we never fulfilled. With Arsenal now, you don't want to gamble because you just don't need to. Like gambles are for clubs that need to sort their crap out and have to take risks because that's the position they're in. Exactly. I think Rodrigo would have been perfect before the injury.
But he broke his ACL, innit?
Yeah.
Well, he would be the one linked with us forever.
Yeah. I think Rodrigo would have been perfect because Rodrigo gives you goals. He gives you work rate off the ball. And he's still disciplined and humble enough, in my opinion, to not do Leao stuff, which is not, you think he's the big.
And he's dying for a spotlight. Rodrigo is dying to be the one, not just one of many. Like in a humble way, he's not him saying, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy," but I think he needs that. But that's the thing, though, with Matisse. It's like 90 minutes. I'm not moved by Barcola. You're another Martinelli in that. If there's 3 actions to score, you'll do 2 well. I know you've got talent, but I'm looking at, and I'm not expecting everyone to do it for 38 games, but I need you to do it for 38 games. When you look at my attacking unit last year, big them up, they got over the line. You had moments, you didn't have consistency, which some of you have had great seasons. Now, it could be like people like Madueke and Martinelli, you've not quite kicked on in the game as much as you kind of need to. Someone like Eze, you're adapting, you've been a bit hot and cold. Gyökeres, us understanding him and him understanding us type of thing. Saka with his injuries. There's a bunch of reasons, but I just group you into uncertainty in my attacking unit. Defense wins titles, we've proved that, and obviously we've scored goals because goals win games, but that's what I'm trying to move away from, the uncertainty. But I am a hypocrite because in terms of having a tool in a toolbox, Barcola makes sense. I do want Rodgers, though. I know that if we get Rodgers, because I know if you get Rodgers, we'd have Rodgers, Eze, and on paper Martinelli, and maybe the Zola's guy from Club Brugge, but I could only talk about them lot. I know I'm a hypocrite because nobody's sorted out that left wing. Nobody's sorted it out. And I do think if I was to name Mikel Arteta's strongest 11 in my head, which, would be the obvious, every best player you can imagine in the back 5 in the midfield, you go Kai up front and Odegaard in the 10. And obviously my one, which I'd probably go Eze and Gyökeres. The left wing would be the one where you're looking at Rodgers and thinking, oh, I like him out there. I think he could thrive. I think he'd actually become our first choice guy out of Eze and Odegaard because I think Arteta would love him off the ball, let alone on it. One thing that attracts me to him is he's actually played a fair amount of times off that right-hand side. Now, obviously, I want Saka back up to his best, and I want Dalman with that. And I actually like Noni. You're frustrating. I accept you as a squad player. I think you need to be the last one.
Wanyeri
is a lot better there.
What's going on with Wanyeri? Wanyeri is another option as well.
I think he's gone. I think that's a money maker. Look at the path. Look at the pathway, Matisse. Like I like him, but at the end of the day, Max Dalman's bad news for you, anyways. He's a bit younger. There's less of a pressing need for immediate football. Right wing Noni's coming for 50 mil. Obviously, you've got Bukayo. You've got a bunch of other guys that can play there. The 10 row, you've got Mr. Odegaard. You've got Eze. You've got Marino and Kai who have played there. In the kind of pivot, you're fighting with Lewis Skelly. You're fighting with Rice. You're fighting with Zubi. Norgard's gone, but you're fighting with Norgard. I'm missing somebody else out. I just think the pathway's dead. I want him to go out on loan. I think he either needs to go out on loan or it's one of them Matisse where the manager says, I'm going to put my hat on you for 5-10 games. You don't get excited if you play well in the first 5. Don't get too down at the last 5. But at the end of it, I'm going to kind of see your level. The only thing that might give me a bit of hope is, obviously, us. We're disrupted by the World Cup. Well, everybody is, but we're disrupted by the World Cup. So there's a lot of players that won't be there for pre-season, maybe not there at the start of the season. So if he takes a chance, maybe he changes his kind of reality, or maybe we won't have a pressing need to pull the trigger, at least until the windows draw into a close. I just think they're going to look at it and say, Manieri's a moneymaker. When you look through my squad, yeah, obviously we're not going to sell Saliba and this one and that one. Who's really going to fetch the biggest fee? Allegedly, we're told Gabriel Jesus, Berta wants 20 mil. Berta, you know more about all that stuff than me. I think it's crazy if we somehow get 20 mil for Gabriel Jesus with his wages and his 2 ACLs. I think that's mad, but that's not bringing in mad peas. Norgard, you're bringing in a nominal kind of fee. Kepa apparently can go for 5 million. You're not really bringing in much. Jesus, to be fair, you're looking at the wages. Nelson ain't bringing in nothing really like that.
But you know what? You just made Champions League final. You don't even need money.
We don't even need money, but I think these men need to come off the wage bill. Vieira brings in about 15 mil rumors. No one else ain't bringing in nothing like Wanyeri. I think I'll be honest. Free money.
Havertz needs to come off the wage bill.
The next 2 years will be vital, bro. That's why I always say I think that's Berta versus Arteta, because obviously they're key players for us. But Berta might be looking at, we've given X amount of new deals. We brought in next players last summer. They've got 2 years. They're on X amount. The system's always evolving, especially if you bring Rodgers. I think that will be Berta versus Arteta. I genuinely think that will come.
I think you lot should be trying to sell Havertz. I think for the wages that he's on, for the lack of guarantees he gives you in front of goal,
and you've got Mourinho,
the chances that he's capable of missing, and you've already got Mikel Mourinho, who's the clutch guy, who kind of does the midfield striker thing.
Fact.
I would be looking at moving him on, because I said it when he signed. With those wages, he really does. Same with Gallagher at Tottenham. It can mess up your wage bill. When you've got a decent player on mad wages, or a good player at
his
best
agent
on mad wages,
blind him, man, I can't lie.
bro, it messes up your entire wage structure. Because now, when you're negotiating for players, if they get a word of what certain men are making and they know their starters ahead of them, we know Havertz not a starter for Arsenal. And if he is a starter for Arsenal, Arsenal have got a weak point, or Arsenal have got an area where they could significantly improve. That is not 250k a week money. That is 120.
I think it's 265 as well, to be fair.
Yeah, that's 150 max if you're an important squad player, and 120 if you're a benchy. Like, that's what he should be making. And I know he's German international and he's won things and all these things, but it's not good for the wage bill. It's not. That's a player there where you could get good money for, and you wouldn't miss much. Like, you wouldn't skip a beat, in my opinion. I know he's got.
You shouldn't skip a beat. You shouldn't. He's the key player in that, but. Like, let's have it right. If we're moving in the way we need to, and I'd keep you for one more year before getting rid of you. But like, you're not quite the striker. You're not quite the centre mid. I get it. I actually think you get a bad rep sometimes. I do think you show consistency. I do think you're a good squad player. I do think you understand the system. I do think you're a fighter. But then I agree with Matisse. Like, when you remove away from that, you can and you need to do a bit better. That's why I'm saying I think Odegaard, you're kind of playing for new deals. I think obviously Trossard moving away is a step in the right direction. There's rumors around giving Rice and Timber and David Raya naturally new deals. So that's where I think, as much as like on the face of it, we've just won the Premier League. We're finally, you remember the protests with the Cronkies and that. We're finally rocking. Yep. We're finally rocking with the owners. Yep. Berta's coming in. Arteta's been in for criticism. Everybody's moving in the same direction. That's why I think, fans are a bit impatient about our lack of business, because we finally got there and they want to see us bring in big money. But I think there's numerous moving points. Whether the players work or not, this is why, as frustrated as I am about the win, I always reserve judgment to the end, because if you don't do anything, it can't be done. I think they need to bring in players that lift our level. I think it's abundantly clear, like at left wing. I do think there's a mandate from Berta to look after the wage bill. And I think long term, not selling for selling's sake, but there was a weird little period at the Emirates where when we was more in dire need for money and we had like the Adebayor, Cesc Fabregas, Nasri, whatever have you, Ashley Cole. Well, we bumped ourselves for Ashley Cole, really and truly. But generally, we used to sell better them times. Kind of the second period at the Emirates, we became poor at selling. Like Iwobi and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are still there. And I've always said with us, Matisse, it's like, we don't sell when the iron's hot. That's why, as much as I don't know if I'm all right with Trossard going, I understand a year from now, we might not, God forbid, we might not win the league. You might not have that offer on the table. I look at Ainsley Maitland-Niles, for example. There was a point we could have got 30 million from Everton and someone else. I think when we won the FA Cup, we didn't. He ended up leaving for free. So I think there's that mandate to get more money in. And obviously the wage bill, because a lot of these players are past their sell-by dates. Like technically, Gabriel Jesus has a year left on his deal, which is why I have all the faith in Berta. But when I see these rumors of 18, 19, 20 million, I put myself in the buying clubs. If someone was buying Jesus, like he's got a year left, he's had 2 big ACLs. Fair enough. I'm not going to give him Arsenal wages, but he's going to be on something and they want a transfer fee. Am I exactly frothing at the mouth and running Arsenal down to get a move? Or should I say, you know what, 6-7 months from now, I could agree something for free in January and obviously see if he maintains fitness and et cetera, et cetera. For us, we can't. I can rationalize the Kai one, but Gabriel Jesus is on too much money to not be in the match day squad. There were times away from injuries, you genuinely weren't in the match day squad. So
It's mad.
my point is there's many a moving part now, man.
Yeah, I think Jesus is such a madness what's happened to him with injuries. I remember his first season, he was fantastic, man. He was so
first
good.
6 months, bro. Amazing for us.
6 months is all you got, but it's nasty.
It's sad because he got injured in the last World Cup, like the 2022. He weren't even in an Arsenal shirt, and then he kind of worked his way back, got collapsed against United, and any little juice he had,
gone.
He died, bro. Like
when you're cooked, you're cooked, bro. That's it.
2 knee injuries, you can't come back from that, bro. Like, and I wish him all the best, but it's a myth. But yeah, man, Matisse, I've had you here too long, man. It's been great catching up. Where can people find you, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man. Listen, been a pleasure, people. For me,
come on.
It's been MAH is 3 letters on the YouTube as always. It's the most important platform. All these other things are just side pieces, man. I'll be real.
And it's in the title as well, people. So if you didn't catch that, you just got to click the link, man.
Yeah, you are. So yeah, man, that's where you find me, people. And in terms of what's coming up, I'm really just keeping my eyes on the transfers. Like I'm trying to cover all big clubs as transfers at the moment, just to diversify. Obviously, I got 1 game a week next year, so I got to be talking about something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Well, we've got about 3 games a week, so I don't know about any of that.
You ain't got time for all that. Yeah. When you're busy and booked, you're busy and booked, innit? That's all I can say. Well, but me, I got a lot of free time on my hands. I've got ideas that, bro, you wouldn't think that I'd be thinking of, but I'm gonna have to do them.
Oh, you lot, man. Matisse is full of surprises, man. Like, there's conventional stuff from Matisse, there's bare unconventional stuff from Matisse. So make sure you're subscribing, you turn on notification bells, and you're catching all of that. Matisse, we'll catch up again. One love, my boy. Enjoy what's left of your day and all of that, man. And chat, we couldn't have done it without you lot. So let us know your thoughts, because we've spoken about a lot in it. But on that note, we're out. One love. Like